The Promise of the Hand. This was an experiment. So, a couple of weeks ago, I searched the phrase 2008 video game on YouTube because I wanted to find some new material. And I came across Haze, which I had never played and which I had no idea existed. This was a perfect example of wasted potential. A game that could have been fantastic, but which was ultimately ruined by the negligence of its creators. Well, not negligence, but more, I'm not sure what the word is, but it just wasn't good enough to be good, unfortunately. So that's why I created The Promise of the Hand, which essentially rewrote the plot and created an entirely new story based around Gabriel Skincoat Marino. Because the twist at the end that he was actually secretly evil did not work at all, so I went ahead and changed that around. Now, I'm not 100% sure if everything works here. You might notice it's a bit short, just like my other three fanfics about obscure franchises. That's because I had very little to work with here. The original plot wasn't exactly deep or profound or meaningful, if you catch my drift. So instead, I just kind of had to work with what I had here. It was interesting to incorporate some of my personal experiences with rehab into this. There's a section here where the people are recovering from nectar addiction. That's something that it was very personal to me because I wrote this story while I was in rehab, and I was able to use a lot of my own experiences to enhance the power of the story. It's also a fundamentally hopeful story because the original game is like has a lot of really awful things to say about human nature. But in this one, even though the Mantel Corporation ends up screwing over humanity pretty badly, with the guidance of the Death Note, they end up getting back to things. So, this is a good example of how the Death Note can be used for good as well as evil. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this one. Above all else, I hope it brings some attention to Haze and gets some impetus for a remake behind it. Because if there's any game that needs a remake and a reimagining, it's definitely Haze.